Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'd love to share with you today a double pocket gift bag that I've created using the Pocket Thoughts dies. And I'm going to switch my camera over quick and kind of talk through how that all works. So give me just a moment. So I'm just going to share, see if I can get that figured out here. Always love it when I decide I'm going to show something and then can't find it. So thanks for bearing with me. I got this idea. I had a friend who had shared with me this cute little idea of using two of the small, well, they're mid-sized Pocket Thoughts dies into a little gift holder that would hold a couple candies. I think you could easily convert this for a gift card as well. But this idea kind of led to some other things. I was doing some searching and found some great ideas, but I wanted to be able to use this larger pocket die. So the one I just showed you was this mid-sized, and then there's this tinier one here. So kind of want to share with what I'm going to be doing. So you're going to need, it's best to use the 12 by 12 paper, and if you do that, you can get all your pieces from this one sheet of 12 by 12 basic white cardstock. So you need one that is 12 by 3 3/4, and then you'll need a few pieces beyond that. So you'll need two pieces that are 5.5 by 4.5. Those are for the pockets. You're also going to need a piece that's 6.5 by 3 1/4. That's to do some circles using the Stylish Shapes dies. Then you're going to need a few pieces of Designer Series paper, and here I'm using the Snowy Scenes 12 by 12. I loved these trees, kind of a non-traditional color, and I loved the plaid that coordinates with it. So these are 5.5 by 5.5 by 4.5, just like the basic white pieces for pockets. And then you're going to want a piece that is 1 by 6 inches. You could also just cut a 1 by 12 and then cut it in half. And then I've got a piece of petal pink that is 2 3/4 square. So kind of get all that together. I'm using a little bit of the iridescent 1/2 inch striped trim. I know this is on low inventory at the moment. Hopefully it will get back in stock soon if it sells out. And then I'm using the adhesive backed metallic gems because I kind of liked how the copper coordinated with the oranges in this particular paper. And so then I'm also going to be using the Greetings of the Season stamp set, and I'm going to combine a few things because I loved how it gave me an image on the front. And so all of that together, you're going to need your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and you're going to want your Simply Scored tool or our paper trimmer with a scoring blade. All that to say, let's kind of get going to show you how fun all of this is. So I'm going to start it off with my scoring tool, and then I can get that out of the way. So I'm going to pull up here my Simply Scored, and hopefully we can keep it together. I prefer my Simply Scored tool. Let me go ahead and pull out the markers. There's a little storage place on the end of your Simply Scored tool. If you do much scoring, box making, bag making, the Simply Scored is definitely worth having. So I'm going to want to make some scores at 5 inches. I just think this is the easiest way for you to see this. 6 inches and at 7 inches. So I'm going to turn it around. You have a scoring stylus. I'm going to lift up my scoring tool here at the bottom. So I've got my 12 inches at the top. So I'm going to use my wider ball on my scoring tool, not the narrower one, and I'm going to score at 5, and I'm going to come across at 7. I have a reason for this. And I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put one in at that 6 mark. And I do that on purpose so that when I'm folding, I don't get frays along my cardstock. So I'm going to fold it up. So when the bump is facing me, that's when I'm folding it over onto itself. So let me get this out of the way because we won't need it anymore. And I want to share with you how I cut all these pieces. Then I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and you need the big one. The dies are too large for they're too large for the mini. So I'm going to pull it out here. I've got a magic mat on mine. That is not something Stampin' Up! Sells. And I'm going to line up my papers, making sure that I've got the top in the correct orientation. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these. I didn't get these cut ahead of time. So I'm going to line up my die. There's a few things I did do ahead of time, but this is not one of them. So you're going to have to endure me cutting this out. Scroll it across here. And I won't need that little piece there. So I've got one, and then I need to get the other one. And line it up here, get it to scroll through. And so, that out of here. I'm going to knead this out for just a moment. So you would go ahead, I've already done ahead of time some of this. So I've got my 2 white, basic white cardstock, and I wanted that on purpose so that it's a little more sturdy for the back. You could use designer series paper, but why use paper when you don't need to, and you don't want to use your pretty papers for that. It's something you're not going to see. So then, it looks like I didn't cut that out either, so what do you know? So I want to show you kind of how I then did the top. So the top of my tent piece, I want to make sure I've got that same circle. And so the easiest way I found to do that was to line it up on my die from the back side. So I'm not going to run it through the machine this way. I'll lay it here, and I've got a couple pieces. Well, I thought I did. I'm going to tear a couple pieces from the Post-it note tape. I have found that works the best. So I'm going to line it up here, make sure I'm straight. Attach it, it won't tear my paper, like so. And then I'm going to flip this over. And the big tip for this is when I'm lining up my top plate, I'm going to have my top plate barely on the top of my sandwich so that it ends just past that little tab. And then I'm going to roll it through. and this top plate will drop off. And when I pull this off, you will see that I have then come with the same tab that I'm going to have on all my pockets. So I'm going to set that aside because I've already done one that has both tabs cut. And then I want to pull out the Stylish Shapes dies because I want a square for the front. I kept the decorations on this bag pretty simple. You certainly could do more elaborate design on the front, and I will show you after this video that I did do a couple other bags with different decorations and different papers. So I've taken my Stylish Shapes dies. I pulled that out too quickly. They're graduated in size. Took the two largest tabs and I put a piece of Post-it note tape to hold them together so I have an equal spacing between them. I'm going to line them up together then, and that way I know all of my pieces are the same size. And I need two of those. So I'm going to roll. It's going to give me rings. And then I'll have a piece I won't need. I'm going to roll this through. I'm going to do it one more time. So you'll see that I've got the centerpiece I won't need, so I'll use that for another time. And then I can release my ring. So I'm going to have two of those. And I want to do one more. So that's what that 6.5 by 3 1/4 piece is for. Like so. And then I believe, oh yeah, I can go ahead and get rid of it. And then what I did is I took the second to the largest square from the Stylish Shapes, and I'm doing the same. I'm going to make a stitched square from that. And so I don't need to run it through because I've already done so. Let me put my dies out of the way, get the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out of the way, and then we won't have to deal with that. Get it out of the screen, and we'll kind of get all our parts and pieces ready. So I told you that you want to fold this up. So get the camera up. So I'm going to fold this toward itself. So I'm going to turn it over because I want to fold this one in half. So I've got my two pieces. And I'm going to grab out my bone folder. Get a nice crease. And then I'm going to turn it over. You notice I've got the bump on this side. And I'm going to fold it away from me on top of itself. And the same thing here. I'm going to fold it toward itself. And like so. Now, to kind of get everything together, I'm going to put these down at almost 1.5 inches. And I didn't bring my ruler over here, so we're going to just wing it, and hopefully we're doing all right on the winging part. So I'm going to put some adhesive on about half of my ring here. I want just enough to hold it. What's most important is that both rings line up on the other side. So I want an equal amount on both sides. So like so. I'm going to roll it over. This was the easiest way to figure out how to keep them close to the same. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive, get it in the screen here. Like so. Get out of the way. I'm going to turn it over, keeping my bag piece straight. I'll line it up so that it lines up to the other side. Press over here. Okay, so I've got those two pieces. We're going to kind of leave them like that. I want to come in then, and I'm going to put the other on the inside. So I'm going to come across, come across. And then I'm going to grab so that these then are going to close onto each other. And I'm doing that on purpose. You could do this afterwards. You could do it now. I've done it both ways. Kind of want to make sure my pieces are not going to separate on me. There we go. It gives me a nice sturdy handle. So I've got my two pieces here, nice sturdy. Then I'm going to create my bags. And so I'm going to take, they're already scored when they go through the die. So they've got a little 1/4 inch tab, top, bottom, and sides. And so I'm just kind of folding it along that score. I'm going to do the same thing on all of them. This goes together really fast. And I was just real pleased with how it turned out. So then I'm going to take my two, and it was hard to decide because those cute little penguins are adorable. So you could choose to use the other side. It would change the colors, but they are beautiful and cute and adorable. And all this paper, Snowy Scenes is by far, I think, my favorite paper out of the September to December mini catalog. So again, I will need my multi-purpose liquid glue. So we'll take that green cap off. What I found worked the best for me was to come on the bottom, and I'm going to put adhesive across both sides. Then I'm going to take the other pocket and I'm going to line it up. So I want to kind of get it where it's kind of together here. Okay, there you go. And then it's because I can still get this to line up and it have a little wiggle room with your pocket when it's with the glue. Then I can come and do the sides. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up on this end and over here. Press, hold it for a second. Make sure I get good adhesion. Do the same thing on the opposite side. So, and then I need the second one, because you could do this with one, but I liked the idea of the two. And I will look for my inspiration. It was someone who was not using Stampin' Up! Supplies, and it was a little more involved because they weren't using, they were making their own boxes or tags, their own pockets. There's the word I'm looking for. I'm word deficient today. So press here, make sure that gets adhered real well. And then again, I want to do those sides. The pockets go together real well. I know we have some examples in the catalog showing silverware. So for a table scape, which I think would be kind of cute using this larger die. You'd have a scavenger hunt later to see where you can find it. I'm pretty sure that was in our mini catalog that I'd seen that toward the back. And I think that would be really cute for Thanksgiving with some different papers. But okay, kind of get it lined up here. And then I'm going to do the other side. Over here. All right. So, nice pressure on coming across. Then to finish the fronts, kind of a little wiggly, here we go. I want to make sure I've got that. So I'm going to take my paper and I'm just going to pull it over and kind of get a Just a little here and a little here. I don't need much. You could do larger pieces, but you're covering it up, and so it just doesn't really make sense. So I'm going to just fold it over, pinch a little on this corner, make sure that I think I am, pinch it on this side. Was my saving paper option, which may have been a good idea, maybe not a good idea. We'll see. Time will tell. I kind of liked how it looked though, so and I'm going to put something on the front of that. On this one, I think I want to put a little on the inside. Let's see if I can make sure I line them up straight, because that would be important. So I've got them sitting here. About like so. Okay. And then I can attach on the other side. I'm going to pinch, pinch, hold it for a second on the back side. And the same kind of thing on over here. This is going better. So I'm going to pinch, gently pinch, so that again I get it on the back side. So then I can have my pieces here. See if they're ready to go. Okay. So now it's a matter of putting this on the front. And so what I found was easier was to put the adhesive actually on the bag, the tent part. So I'm going to line up about 1/4 inch, 1/8 to 1/4 inch away from the edges, just because it'll bleed out. And then I find I like a little more adhesive. Maybe you don't think you need it, and that's okay if you don't. Then I'm going to attach from the top down so that I'm lined up. Again, you've got a little bit of wiggle, but it attaches. So then you can kind of hold, slide it over, whatever you need to do to make it line up on my tag. So there we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. So I'm going to come in, come down, over, keeping my fingers out of it as best I know how. Again, I think I need a little more adhesive, so then I will do the same thing. I'm going to take it down from the top, line up, push it down, and it's mostly the same as the other side, just a little off. And then I will press. I want to make sure that all of this is attached straight. So, like so. So then it'll open up and sit. And then I want to put my embellishment on the front. So I told you I had cut that square from the Stylish Shapes dies, and I'm using the Greetings of the Seasons stamp set, and I wanted it to say to you and yours, Merry Christmas. And I liked using the Merry and then the font, the cursive font. And I've got to grab, because I forgot, my pumpkin pie. So I'm going to open up the pumpkin pie stamp set. It's one of my older pads, still a current color, but this is the old style. And so I'm going to open up, and then I can stamp the Wishing You a Merry Christmas. Pumpkin pie and petal pink are still in the orange category, and I'm going to make sure I try to get as centered as I can. Get a nice press underneath this. Could use your Pierce mat. That also gives you nice foam underneath. I think that works out pretty well. I'll clean that in a little bit. Always good to make sure you clean your stamps. And then I wanted to stick some dimensionals on the back. So I'm just going to grab my dimensionals, put one on each corner. You probably don't need that many. You could probably get by with one, but I want to make sure it stays on the front. And I'm only decorating the front. You could decorate both sides. You might want a little section there to even put a little message, but I think you could tuck a note into one of the pockets. I think that would be kind of cool. So I'm thinking this is enough. So I'm going to line up so that I'm as straight as I think I can be. Okay, like so. And then I thought using some of the gems, so again, these are the adhesive backed metallic gems, and I really liked the copper ones. And so I'm going to grab my take your pick tool, grab a larger one, and I'm going to kind of come in here, and then I'm going to just do a couple of the smaller ones. One up, and then one, I think over here, down. And that is almost all. I almost told you I was done, but I'm not. I also need a section of that 1/2 inch iridescent striped trim. So I'm going to give about a foot. It's probably a little more than, but you know, it's an estimate. And then I'm going to come and loop it around on one side of my handle and tie it in a knot, and then slide it down and tie it in a bow. Some days bows work easier as my hands get a little more arthritic. Some days are worse than others, but I think today's a good day. So there we go. You'll have to let me know in the comments kind of what you think of this project, and is this something that you would try? And also, I just want as a reminder that if you're not a subscriber to my YouTube channel, I would so appreciate you doing so. Also, you can receive my emails by subscribing. There's a link in the description of this video. I often have more of my information I'm sharing from Stampin' Up! On my Facebook page, just a little ink. And so, thank you again. Let me stand up. Whoops, almost was ready to start, and I don't want to do that yet either. I promised you I would share with you some alternative projects. So let's get that going. So here is the front of my finished double pocket bag. I think this would be cute to stick a pack of cocoa. I looked at our Walmart just a few days ago and could not find any. And so I was hoping to find that. And I think there are some smaller thinned cookies or candy packets I could easily see put on the other side. It certainly would hold a card. And I think that would just be so much fun as a gift. You maybe even would just have something on the front, which is a smaller gift, and then your card on the inside. And what a great way to give a gift. So let me share with you those other couple projects first. I did this one using Snowy Scenes again, but this time using the snowman paper. And then I used Snowy Scenes bundle to create the snowman, the snowflakes, the Christmas tree or the tree behind. And then I will have to look and tell you which stamp set this one is from. It's also from the mini catalog, and I split the stamp. So I used omitting and just used marker to stamp the Love from Our Home, and stamped it first and then put to yours because it's all one long stamp. And this again was using the Stylish Shapes dies. And then the last one I had done was more of a wintry one, but I just loved how this ended up turning out using the winterly, and I can't think of the rest of the words on this one either. I'll have to pull that one up as well. But a little fussy cutting, use the dies that coordinated with it, and the designer series paper again. And then the trim, which has been in and out of stock, should be back in stock hopefully soon if it is out right now. But all of these products are out of our September to December mini catalog. And so if you have any questions, need it to order, please reach out. Links are in the description of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and pull over and wish you adieu. Thanks again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a wonderful day. Happy stamping.